These 5 kids were arrested by their parents who were cops.
Dude, you just lied.
Where's my dad?
Oh, your dad.
On August 14, 2022, officers responded to reports about a possible disabled vehicle when they noticed something suspicious and decided to skip formalities.
Are you able to step out with me? Easy, buddy. You okay? Let's just step towards the back of the car, okay?
Just as the officer was about to knock, he noticed that the man had been sleeping in the vehicle while it was still on. And so after turning off the vehicle, he shifted his focus back to the man whose identity and whereabouts that night were still unknown.
Where are you coming from?
The ride home.
Is that the name of a bar?
No, yeah, the ride home. Like,
Okay, where is this?
the Winter Garden, ride home.
Okay, where are you headed to?
My house,
Okay, where's your house?
right here.
After claiming he lived on the street, the cops knew his slurred speech and bloodshot eyes were substance-related, and they weren't going to get much from him. So they requested an ID, but instead they were given quite a surprise.
That's your date of birth?
Yep.
Okay, and what's your name?
Chase Mina.
Chase what?
Mina. M-I-N-A.
The drunk, disoriented man counting dollar bills in front of them was the son of a Florida sheriff. The look on that officer's face said it all, and their night had just become a lot more eventful, but they still had a job to do.
Okay, have you been drinking tonight at all? A little bit? Okay. So right now the concern is for your ability to drive. So I'm just going to ask you, would you be willing to answer some questions? Would you be willing to do some sobriety exercises for us tonight?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Chase was strongly against taking the sobriety tests, and the officers were put in a very tight spot because they knew if he didn't take the test, they'd have to place the sheriff's son under arrest for suspected DUI, and that was the last thing they wanted.
Now you're asking us to base our decision on your ability to drive on what we've seen so far. And what we've seen so far is you asleep in the vehicle, you reek of alcohol, it's obviously you've been drinking, you told us that you came from the bar. So I just want to present you the opportunity again. Would you like to do field sobriety exercises?
Nope.
All right. Go ahead and turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Chase was arrested and transported to the county's DUI testing center, where he also refused to provide a breath sample. He was then taken to the county jail. Chase was calm throughout the stop, a stark contrast to Ashley, who was very hyper.
Yeah, and my dad is actually a...
On August 27, 2021, a cop pulled over a Honda after noticing a traffic violation, and when he approached the car, he was notably enthusiastic with the occupants.
I don't know.
No, you don't know?
I was a little fast, I will give you that.
All right, yeah, you were holding a little bit.
No.
The officer noted there were 2 young girls in the car, and so he adjusted his demeanor to mirror theirs, in hopes for a smooth traffic stop. But the cop soon realized he needed to be more reserved with them.
So as you were making that right-hand turn, okay, you, rather than turning in the outside lane, which was closest to you, you turned into the inside lane, which was furthest from you.
It's just what I got marked down on, so...
You got marked down on that?
Yeah, and my dad is actually a... My dad's a police officer, so he taught me how to drive. It's Seattle, Port of Seattle.
Oh, Port of Seattle? Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, give me a second. I'll be right back with you, okay?
The driver of the vehicle, Ashley, was taught how to drive by her father, who was a cop, and was now being pulled over for a traffic violation by another cop. The girls found this funny, but not so much the cop, who had noticed Ashley's watery eyes and odor of alcohol coming from her mouth.
Ashley, you want to hop out real quick? All right, yeah, just come back here.
Okay.
All right. Hey, how old are you?
I'm 19 and a half.
He's 19?
Yeah.
Okay, how much alcohol you had tonight?
Not a lot, and I'm like really nervous. I get very, but like not a lot at all.
Not a lot?
No.
Okay, I do smell it coming from your breath still, okay? Would you like to do some voluntary field sobriety tests?
Sure.
It's up to you.
I don't know what that means.
Ashley agreed to the tests, and as expected, she didn't perform them correctly and even didn't quite understand the instructions for some.
8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10. I'm working out too much. 11, 12, 1,000, 13,000.
Although she was quite confident and almost arrogant, Ashley failed all the tests. But the cop was unsure if it was because she didn't understand the instructions given, or because of her level of intoxication. So the cop decided her PBT score would decide her fate.
So you know what the legal limit in the state of Washington is for someone who's 19 years old?
Nothing at all.
No, not quite. So it's .002. Yep. So 0.051. Okay. So you're over the legal limit. Okay. So go ahead and turn around, put your hands behind your back. Okay. You're under arrest for DUI under 21.
Ashley was given 3 hours of community service in order to pay a $500 fine. Ashley mentioned her dad once, but the next kid really needed her dad.
Can I call my dad, who's a sheriff's officer?
On December 28, 2022, officers were notified of a hit-and-run accident, and they approached someone who believed to be in connection to the incident, but they weren't aware of what awaited them.
Applebee's.
You come back from Applebee's?
Yeah, I had a drink.
Okay. How old are you?
21.
You're 21?
Yeah. My dad is, a Sean Lee.
Who was that?
Sean Lee.
Sean Lee? Okay.
Straight away, Teresa laid it on the officer that he was talking to a sheriff deputy's daughter, and although that didn't have the effect she thought it would, she decided it was worth one more try.
Can I call my dad, who's a sheriff's officer?
Let the one officer come here who's out with your other part of your bumper. He's going to talk to you, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Teresa was stopped because her car's front bumper was at the scene of the hit that pulled down a traffic light, and although she had previously denied hitting anything, Teresa now realized that the cops weren't joking around.
I remember hitting something after Applebee's. But
Okay.
I'm saying, like,
And then did you drive away because you're scared because you had maybe had one drink and you think you're drunk?
Yeah.
And you might get arrested, but you don't seem like you're drunk?
Yes.
Is that what's going on? So you drove away because you're scared?
Yes.
So you might get some tickets and maybe you might get arrested? Is that why?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're starting to tell the truth, right?
The cops had finally gotten something out of her, and so it was only fair that she got something out of them in return.
John, right? Hey, John, how are you?
The cops called Teresa's father, the sheriff's deputy, and he arrived a few minutes after, and the environment became quite different.
What's up? So, what she's saying, like, and where the damage was and everything, just doesn't really make too much sense. So, tried to get some more information out of her, but figures out another soul out here, right?
What's that?
You know, somebody. Inzarella? No.
No, not tonight.
Not tonight.
When John arrived, the officer became quite stiff, as they didn't know what to expect, considering they knew about corrupt cops who would cut corners to turn their kids free. But John seemed cool and even made a joke to ease the already tense environment, but he still knew his daughter was currently facing some serious allegations.
That's would be okay. Because once you described it to me, I was like, it doesn't really take, you know, it takes a little power to pick up one of the traffic lights.
Surprised that's did not have damage.
Okay.
So, who was the who's your officers?
So right now, this is going to be my call. Okay. Supervisor's coming out.
Okay, gotcha.
He's going to be providing all the details.
Okay, who's your supervisor?
Sergeant John Bell.
Not that I'm not. Dude,
I got
I'm just asking.
I got
So what is it looking like now?
Although we tried to make it clear that he just wanted to know, that question from John quickly intensified the atmosphere at the scene, and the sergeant present decided to put his foot down.
Obviously, you're here. Please do not get involved. You are on. Is that? I know. I'm just letting you know. Just please don't get involved. Okay?
With the dad told to stand down, Teresa was taken through the field sobriety test on suspicion of intoxication. And those suspicions turned out to be true as she failed all 3 tests. The air became tense once again as Teresa was arrested in front of her dad.
Where's my dad?
Oh, your dad's right over here.
Can I see him?
Okay. Sure. So we have your cell phone. Do you need anything else from inside the car? Anything else in there? Come here. Dad.
You do stops with this shit in the car.
Right,
You're
Teresa.
arrested for DUI. Go ahead.
Have a seat.
Teresa was charged with operating under the influence, reckless driving, and failure to report an accident. Teresa's dad didn't interfere in her case, but Allison couldn't even speak for herself.
I'm not talking to you. I'm trying to talk to her.
On February 12, 2022, a deputy pulled over a Jeep driving with no taillights, and when he informed the occupants, he sensed something foul.
He has no headlights.
No headlights? Why?
You have no taillights on right now, which I assume means you don't have any headlights either. You're driving by driving lights currently.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It was on off. Oh.
The girls seemed to have been truly oblivious to that and turned the light on immediately. But the cop feared he knew the cause of their lack of awareness, and this led him to uncover something special about the case.
Anything to drink tonight?
No.
Are you sure about that?
Well, just me, not her.
I'm not talking to you. I'm trying to talk to her, but you keep answering everything.
I'm sorry. I'm good, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You mind if I check your eyes? While you're while you're seated in the car? All right.
The girls say they had nothing to drink, but with their jittery demeanor and the odor of alcohol, the cop wasn't convinced. So we asked Allison to take the field sobriety test, and she agreed to it. During the test, Allison showed varied signs of impairment, and the cop wanted to be thorough by ending with a PBT. But Allison was getting increasingly anxious.
Is that a breathalyzer, though?
This is the preliminary breath test.
What does that mean?
It's the one we use out here. It's for the investigation portion. It's not the BAC.
Can you elaborate more? Sorry, my dad used to be a cop, so I'm just asking all the questions I can.
Again, it's voluntary. You don't.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
What would that tell you?
Well, it's going to tell me where you're at BAC out here, right? So it's the preliminary breath test.
The cop struggled to understand how Allison managed to sneak in the news that her dad was a cop while he tried to explain to her what a PBT was. But it was obvious that she was going to do or say anything to avoid taking the breath test, and so the cops had to make a judgment based on her performance in the other tests and her admission to consuming alcohol.
You're under 21.
Exactly.
Right?
That's my
so what is the legal limit for you?
0 tolerance.
It's 0.02.
Oh, well.
So right now, I believe you're over that legal limit.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so you're going to be under arrest. But before I do that, I would like to allow you to put your shoes back on.
That's fine.
Okay, do you want to do that?
Allison was taken to the local police department where she eventually agreed to take a breathalyzer test with a BAC of 0.187, 9 times the legal limit for people under 21. She was sentenced to 1 day in jail with a fine of $2,000. Allison was respectful to the cops, but Simone had some thoughts about her mom.
I'll show you what they said about my mom.
On November 9, 2022, officers received a harassment complaint against a woman named Simone who was recently fired from her workplace for vaping. And upon approaching her, the officers immediately regretted it.
Hi.
What's going on, Simone?
Do you have questions for me?
Yeah, so what's going on with you and your old boss?
So someone called my job and trashed me.
Okay.
Someone told them I vape at my desk.
It started off quite smooth. Nothing out of the ordinary, just old Simone complaining about stuff. But then her complaints became more threatening.
It shouldn't be a domestic dispute. All this is a job in real estate.
Right.
So the fact that somebody called my job and said that Simone vapes at her desk is insulting. I'm not trying to make anybody nervous here. I'm not trying to threaten anybody. But my mother works for the state of New Jersey, and she's a prosecutor. And I work in real estate, and my dad has worked in real estate. So I think what's happening here is that we have a spiteful employee, but I don't know.
Simone was frantic because she thought the person who reported her vaping was jealous of her family's status. The cops had some news of their own, but Simone's mom was a prosecutor, and she wanted to make sure the cops knew.
What's up with all the emails, though? Because she showed me there were like 46 emails since Saturday and today.
Yeah, so the only thing I wanted from my former employee was an apology for mistreating me, and I didn't get that.
Can she elaborate on how
and my mother... Officer. Dude, you could Google my mom. She sued the state of New Jersey for discriminating against her. This woman who called you, she's a single mom, she's an immigrant, and she doesn't know any better.
Simone explains she bombarded her boss's emails waiting for an apology because her mom could sue her and she'd win. Simone thought her mom was untouchable, but then the cops explained they didn't care.
If you go to her house for any reason, we will arrest you for harassment at this point. There's enough there, okay? I'm not arresting you right now, But I'm telling you very clearly, under no circumstance there you go back to her house.
She's making my mom cry.
Don't go back to her house. Oh, listen to what you have to tell me.
She's texting my mother and telling
Contact
her that
us
I'm
if there's an
mental
issue.
case. She told me
Okay.
I got fired for having COVID. That's
Right.
the only reason. I'm sorry. I know you guys have better things to do. This is embarrassing.
Simone got one thing right. She was utterly embarrassing, and with her newfound incoherence and emotional outbursts, the cops figured there might be more to Simone's night than they thought.
You didn't drink anything at all today, right?
No, everybody always thinks that.
I just want to make sure, just like I said.
Yeah, no, I know how this goes. Like, no, I just...
If I check your eyes real quick just to make sure that you're not impaired, just to make sure I don't let you get in the car. And...
No, that's fine.
All right, if you're just going to stand over here.
Simone mentioned she had nothing to drink, but like all other people who said that later changed.
All right, how many drinks did you have?
2.
2 what?
Double vodka cup.
The cop took Simone through the remaining sobriety tests, and she threw several tantrums between each one, making it really hard for the cops to get accurate results. But he had already gotten the results he wanted.
Put your hands behind your back. You're placed under arrest for driving while intoxicated. Put your hands behind your back.
Sir.
Put your hands behind your back.
What did I do?
You failed the test. Put your hands behind your back.
I failed it?
Yes. Put your hands behind your back for me. All right. Unfortunately, you failed all 3 tests.
Can you tell me how I failed it?
Nope, not right now. We're not having this discussion on the side of the road, all right? It'll all be in the report, but unfortunately, that's where we're at.
Nicole was charged with operating under the influence and spent 12 hours in an intoxicated driver resource center.